sticky fingers.
So counting carefully each piece of this puzzle of memories. A sip of despair gives you remedy. Please remember your father.
The first production rehearsals with Cyhra in 2 or 3 years. I can't even remember. But anyway, the stage is almost set up. So we're gonna have a few days of production rehearsals before our first show in over 2 years here at the legendary Sticky Fingers at Gothenburg. And first we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little gear run and then, you know, some footage from the actual rehearsals. Welcome aboard.
Welcome to Cyhra Guitar World. This is what we use. This is how it looks on basically every show. We have 3 guitars each, one as a backup. What I used to use Jackson guitars, but for 2022 I switched to Gibson guitars. I used to play Gibson guitars before I played Jacksons, but then I switched. So for 2022 and on, I'm going to play the Gibson Explorer. This is going to be my main guitar. It's tuned in C, standard C. This is a 2011. Very nice, very balanced guitar. Very nice. I really like it. It's got a really nice tone to it. And of course, in order to get the proper metal sound, you use the EMGs. I use the 81 and the 85. Classic setup. You know what can go wrong with 81 and 85. Standard, nothing else. Except for we have a little thing that we mute the strings. We use a little damp thing here.
What is that damn thing?
This is actually window insulation. That's a secret trick. Don't tell anyone. It's just standard window insulation you put between the frame and the windows. I figured that it would be nice as a string damper, and it's really good. Super quiet. Strings. This is tuned standard C. I use at the moment I use the Mammoth Slinky. It's 12 to 62, pretty standard. I mean, it's not super heavy and it's not super light. It's just in between, so fits my playing very nicely. Pretty regular. Picks. I use, see, a common thing here. It's very yellow, gold yellow. I use the, I don't know if you can see it, Dunlop Altex Sharp 1.14. Perfect. We also have a different tuning, dropped A tuning for a couple of songs. So I'm currently using a red Gibson Explorer. This is a 2017, 81, 85. Same thing. The secret trick. The strings, 14 to 68, because it's a little bit more down-tuned.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Otherwise, it's just exactly the same as the other Explorer. And as a backup, I'm using another classic, the Gibson V. This is a 2009. I've had this for quite some time. I haven't used it in a long while, and it's just been hiding underneath my bed at home. And I got it out and started using it because it's so. This is a very well balanced guitar, and it's probably the best I've ever played. Actually, it's got I forgot to mention all the guitars I'm using. They have Grover tuners as well. Besides that, this is exactly the same, you know, EMG 81, 85, and the 12 to 62 set. The frets on the guitars, the Gibson standards, mediums, I would guess. They're not as big as jumbo, so they're a little bit in between, I would say, probably. And of course, last but not least, the fingerboards. They are rosewood, as on all of the newer Gibson guitars were made with rosewood. So the V comes with rosewood, and of course the other one, the C guitar, comes with rosewood fretboard as well. The Gibson guitars, they have glued necks. They don't have a neck through, and they don't have the bolt on, so they have glued necks. still, I think it's mahogany, and rosewood. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, like Marcus said, we use 3 guitars. You know, one is a spare and 2 other for different tunings. My main guitar, which is in C standard, like Marcus said, our standard tuning, the one we use the most, at least on these 2 albums we have released. The 3rd album, it's gonna be a little bit different, but drop B flat. But anyway, so this is a Japan custom shop ESP, my signature. You can actually buy these. Send me an email and I'll give instructions. These are handmade at the Japan Tokyo factory, the original ESP custom shop. And these are like 5 kilos, so they're a bit heavier. I'm a big guy, I like big and heavy things. And the body is a lot thicker than on your standard ESP Eclipses. The neck is a lot thicker. Everything is bigger. And the body is a mahogany body with a maple top, shaved maple neck. It feels like a baseball bat or a hockey stick, me being a hockey player, The fingerboard is ebony, the frets are a jumbo, and this has a Godot, a locking tuners. So it really stays in tune because you don't have to do a lot of rolling, you just put a string. And these are kind of old ones, I don't think they make these anymore, so it looks like a standard, but the system is that when you tweak this, it will lock itself, but then you need a screwdriver to open this, so it's a little bit, it works, but taking the strings out can be a little bit, if you don't have a screwdriver, then you're screwed. And what else? Yeah, usually I use EMG 81, 85 like Marcus. Those are the pickups I've been using on all Cyhra albums. Some leads I played with 57 and 66 pickups. Why? I mean, they're really close. When EMG released these, I just wanted to try these out, and I was like, yeah, it's pretty close, a little bit more vintage vibe. There's a little bit of and maybe a little bit more lower mids, but they're not that, different. I mean, EMG is a EMG. Like Marcus says, it's, long cables on stage. You need everything to be, rock solid, no fuss, no hassle, and the signal needs to be strong enough so you're not in trouble. Battery compartment for the active pickups. And what we use, me and Marcus both, we use a Sennheiser EW500 G3 wireless packs. So that's that. And this is for the second tuning, B/drop A, where we only use drop A. Why? Well, it's because of the keys. Not keyboards, but the actual keys of the songs. Because some songs just work really well in A minor, key of A minor. And we didn't want to play it higher, we wanted to have the low A, so that's why drop A. This is exactly the same. Different color, same pickups, different color, but other than that, it's exactly the same. Why this one? Gold teeth? Well, because I broke one, and this was the one that I happened to have on tour. It was actually, I think it was a Shining tour back in the day, and I haven't replaced that because it's kind of cool. The strings. So Marcus uses different strings. I just use 12 to 60 on C, drop A, B, drop B flat, whatever. It's a little bit sloppy, but I'm cool with that. And the drop tuning, those of you who don't know, so it's like basically you drop the E string so that it's the same than your D string, but octave lower. So then you get, bigger voicings for chords, and it's just a little bit different approach. You can do cool things. And for us, the main reason in the first place was that in the first album there was Hard Rage, which worked the best for Jake's vocals in the key of A minor. So that's why we ended up using that tuning, and then we have written a couple of other songs in that same tuning. So that's the thing. But other than that, same guitar, just a different color. And then the spare one for both tunings. This is usually tuned to standard C because that's the tuning we use the most. So if I'm gonna break a string, it most likely will be on the C standard tune guitar because we're usually playing like 2 or 3 songs in a set with that drop A. This is a LTD Iron Cross Hetfield signature. It's a stock, except there James likes to use the pickup switch here, and this is actually not functional. But because I'm used to having the traditional, so we made this that it's normal your bridge volume, and this actually now works. This has the headset, which is really close to the 5766. I think the only difference, at least in my opinion, is the high end is a little bit different character, but really close. This is I think this is a mahogany body, maybe even a mahogany top and mahogany neck. But to be honest, I have no idea. You know, if it sounds good, it's good. It works. The fretboard is ebony with the jumbo frets. And these I have replaced because this has had the LTD tuners, and I broke a few. I don't know, maybe I'm too heavy-handed or whatever, you know, touring life it can be. So I just replaced these with gold ones, and again, I only happen to have gold ones, so that's why they're gold. But your standard, which I have shaved the neck, so it's like there's no lacquer. It's like a satin feel. But you know, LTD made in, well, I don't know where this is made. It doesn't say, but it's somewhere. Peaks and strings. So like I said, I use one set for all of our tunings. It's a 12 to 60 DR DDT drop down tuning. I think the difference with these DDTs and, you know, regular, if you would have a like standard tight fit 12 to 60, well, they don't make that size, but DDT you can get, you know, with let's say 10 to 52. I feel that they are a little bit thicker, even though the gauges are the same. But there's something, can't remember what, but I feel that these are a bit stiffer. Like they hold the drop tuning better, so I guess that's why the name, drop down tuning. And picks I use Dunlop also 1.40 like Marcus, but I use the standard purple ones. And no, we don't have a signature picks, you know. I just buy these. We just buy these from the regular music store like anybody else. It's a pick, I mean. You know. And then what else? Yeah, in-ears. We use in-ears. These have been molded to my ears. I'm not gonna show them any closer because they are a bit dirty. Because I haven't used these in over 2 years, so I can see that they definitely need some cleaning before I put them inside to my ears. But yeah, really cool. That was about it, and then we'll go down to the stage to check out our massively big, humongous live rigs. So this is the massive live rig I mentioned just a while ago. But you know, when you're traveling a lot, whatever, I used to play with those big, you know, 800s, which I still use in the studio, 4x12s. But you can't really travel them unless, you know, you're doing like well, if you're doing like flighting shows or a few days, like I flew here to Sweden from Switzerland. And, you know, this fits almost to my backpack. And it's got everything I need. So it just works. The sound is great, you know, practical. You know, it needs to be practical because I don't want to rely anymore on renting stuff because I played with so many good 800s and bad 800s and whatever gear, and always a hassle. But now I have my sound, my gear, no matter where I go. No matter if it's a club show like this with a 500 cap or like a big festival. So it's gonna be always the same. So the signal chain, it comes from the wireless. We're gonna get into that soon. So everything goes to inside this loop. Power, signal from wireless back to the mixing desk and so on. So it comes here, tuner. Then it goes to the wah-wah, which this time is a full tone. I have several wahs, but now I just decided to take this one. From the wah-wah, it goes to the phaser. Because I like to have phaser and wah-wah before overdrive. Then it goes to good old Bass SD1. And then into Blue Guitars Amp 1 Iridium. And yeah, there's channels which is whatever. I use only one sound. It's the classic channel, which is pretty much like, at least like my JCM 800 bad boy. Here's some settings, but they're just like, whatever. So if we, need to do like a only line check, like on a festivals, then I can just say to whoever takes this to the stage, pull them around these. I'll tweak them when needed, but I usually tweak them a little bit always, depending on the mood and whatever. But the SD1 it's pretty much like 95% on, and the classic channel. My clean sound is clean, it's not really clean. SD off, roll down the volume. Boost, don't really use, but I guess it's just an afterburner if I, more is more sometimes, like English says. Then it's just, but it's the built-in boost on this one, it's kind of like a GS808. I like SD1 a bit more. The reverb, I'm not using it as a reverb, but what's really cool, genius, Thomas Blug, is when you press the reverb, the noise gate, built-in noise gate, becomes like a soft gate. So if I need just like more sustain, more whatever, I press this, so then the gate, it's almost like turn off. Because there's two settings, hard and soft. I have it on hard, so it's completely dead. Sometimes it's a bit too hard, because I don't have that much gain, so then I just press this, and then it's, yeah. But unfortunately, I can't show it to you now, playing, because the venue, we are not allowed to make any noise now, but you will hear it when, we shoot the play actually later. Then, on the Amp 1's effect loop, I have a Wampler booster and a Bass DD3 delay. The booster is pretty much for myself, because we use in-ear so that I can hear the solos a little bit better. It's barely open, so our front of house guy is actually doing the solo volume things. This is just for me so that I can hear the guitar a little bit better when I'm soloing, if needed. I don't use it always, but if I feel so. And the delay, if I happen to be on here, then I use usually delays when I'm playing melodies and leads. It's quite subtle, there's no tap tempo or anything. It's just the same, really subtle delay. I forgot to say, yeah, the chorus. The chorus is after the SD, so it's in front of the amp. It's not in the loop. I usually like chorus in front of the amp. The chorus effect is, to me, a little bit more effective. It sounds really cool on the loop, but it's a different sound. But I use it as an effect, so you can actually, it does these. Only on these two, I pretty much use this one on, I guess, one song, and the chorus on maybe one song. Like I said, 95% is SD into this one sound, one channel. And then from the out, because this has a built-in, like a attenuator, reactive load kind of thing. So it's a 100 watt amp, nanotube amp. And I could connect a cabinet here, which I sometimes might do in the future on big festivals, if I just want the oomph. But most parts, since we use in-ears, I don't need a cab. So this is a cab simulator, new neighbor iconoclast. One in, and then there's two outs. And I've just spread it a tiny amount to the sides, so the tone is a little bit wider. And from this, it goes from the loom to our mother-in-law, what we call, which is basically there's a mixer and everything wireless is there all in one, so it goes there. And then it goes out from the PA. We don't use these. This is just for this. Sometimes we connect these, because sometimes you might have some troubles with in-ears, then it's cool to have this, but not basically never. And the Altoids, everybody always asks. So now I'm gonna reveal the Altoids. There's picks and a truss rod. Because you know how wood is. Sometimes if the climate changes or the humidity, so sometimes the neck can be really like this and sometimes like this, and sometimes it even can happen during the show, especially on outdoor festivals. So just to have a truss rod there and make just small tweaks, it could make a difference. That's it. That's everything I need. One sound which is pretty much like my 800 Bass SD1. I'm good to go. All the other stuff is just like, yeah, I can survive without them. But these two, rock and roll.
You just saw Euge's setup. My setup is a little bit different. It's more digital, but in theory it's approximately the same. I use Helix for my live purposes, and the Helix is pretty cool because I've had it set up as, I think it's called hybrid stomp. I'm not really sure. You can of course have different modes how you want it set up. You can change whatever you want to have, a lead, rhythm, just different patches. I had it set up so I have a couple of different presets down here. I have rhythm, lead, low gain. It's like minor, it's almost like, nah, just breaking up a little bit. And I have a clean tone. I have those are my 4 basic sounds. And the row above it is like stomp boxes. So I can switch off and on effects. I can switch off tube skimmer, delay, reverb. I have chorus. I can switch on and off. So I basically have four sounds and a bunch of pedals, basically, which is really cool because I don't really need much more than that, and I have so many options since I can turn off and on everything. So that's pretty neat. And my main rhythm guitar, or my main rhythm sound, is based on Rev amp, the red channel of a Rev amp. I used to use an angle sound or an angle amp as my rhythm sound, but for 2022 I changed. The cabinets, they are vintage 30s, I think it's rectifier or angle, I don't really remember. But they're the stock in the Helix. And yeah, that's basically it. Very, very simple, very effective. Since we use in-ears, I don't really need much more than that.
So this one is the mother-in-law I mentioned, which is pretty much the heart of our live rig. Everything gets power from this. There's wirelesses for vocal mics, guitars, sends, receivers. The mixer, which is like this is the monitor mixer, and this is, you do the mixing with an iPad or computer with app. So this is just the hardware stuff. So what's here is in-ears. We use in-ears, and there's one couple for the crew, and then there's these are guitar wirelesses for me and Marcus, and here's a wireless out. So this cable, this goes to the new tuner, to my pedalboard, and this Marcus guitar out, this goes to Marcus pedalboard, and then they go back. Marcus has 2 XLR cables directly from his board. They go to 15 and 16 here. So that goes Marcus and these 2 standard guitar cables. These come from the new neighbor, and this DI box kind of changes the signal to balanced microphone level. So then there's 2 XLRs, and they go to here on these 2 channels, 17 and 18, I think. That's one of the reasons why I use the DI box. The other is that this also acts as an extension. Sometimes if the stage is really large, these cables are 10 meters, but with this one I can actually extend them you know, as long as, you know, I want. And this has a ground lift, so it can help sometimes to, you know, get rid of the noise. So it's really cool. And all the drums goes here, everything. So we are like self-contained. So we have everything. The drums, the drum mics, vocal mics, everything is our own. So only thing we need is a PA, and we have a like front of house mixing desk. And one of the best sound engineers in the world, and he is Arnold Lindberg, and he's up there. He's the most Finnish Swede I know. He's actually even a bit more Finnish than many Finnish people, and I like that. Yeah, you see? Well, but that's basically it. This weighs a ton. Well, not a ton, only 200 kilos. And then there's these microphone antennas, because, you know, this is now on the floor. It will probably be up on the stage when we play or somewhere near. And these antennas, which are there on the stage, so those send us the mix to our in-ears, and they receive stuff. So it's very, very handy. It's a lot of cables behind and stuff, but it's pretty much like you press one button, everything has power, everything usually works.
Hey guys, Landenburg here. I'm in Gothenburg, Sweden at Sticky Fingers, a legendary club, and we are doing our first show with Cyhra in 2 years. Can you believe that? So, for the occasion, I brought my fantastic Mapex Saturn V. I love this kit to death, with the sledgehammer snare, my favorite snare drum in the world. Now, these are the drums that I have been using also on No Halos to Hell, No Halos in Hell. Now, these are the drums also that I have been using in No Halos for Hell, on No Halos for Hell.
No halos in hell.
Yes.
That's a good bloopers.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, just continue.
So these are the drums also that I've been using in No fucking hell. On. So these are the drums that Give me 1 second. I got it. Okay. And these are the drums that I've been also using on No Halos in Hell. And on top of it, I have some fantastic Zildjian cymbals with me. Now, these are not the cymbals that I usually play, because I came here by plane, I couldn't bring my cymbals, and EM Nordic, the fantastic Zildjian distribution in Sweden, actually in Scandinavia, was so nice to send me over these cymbals. But they are very similar to the ones that I'm usually using, which is a 18-inch A-Custom Crash. Now this is a little bit different, 15-inch K hi-hats. Usually I use 14-inch, so this is going to be very interesting to have that. 10-inch K-Splash, 18-inch Oriental China Trash. That's a K Custom Hybrid 18, and we have, or actually 19, yes. And that's a K Dark Crash 18 over there. The ride is kind of special. That's a K, is it 21? No, it's 20. 20 custom dry. Really, really dry ride cymbal. Let's see about that. I have another one for tonight as well. We'll try to figure it out. And of course, I'm bringing my typical Zildjian 5-beat drumsticks that I've been using since forever. And to round it up, I have some water and some leftover 7-Eleven coffee from last night. So that's it.
Just so you know, I'm holding back like fucking crazy.
You have to. You should. All right, let's do this.